Doctor, all right, let's take this tact. In the encounters that you've had, you say that you've used remote viewing as a way to discern the occupants and no doubt some of what they've had to think or say to you. And so you should have a pretty good idea of that $64 million question, why they're here. Why are they here? What do they want? What's the purpose of these visits?
Well, I think, number one, there is a guardian function over the Earth. They're very aware that we're in a time of great peril.
Mm-hmm.
And let's face it, any civilization that would go in my grandmother, born in the late 1800s, lived to see her son, my uncle, design the lunar module that put the first man on the moon. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't.
And then lived to see thermonuclear weapons. So in one person's lifespan, we went from horse and buggies to putting a man on the moon and thermonuclear weapons. Obviously, this is of some great concern to some civilizations out there, and I don't think it's an irrelevant concern, because it's a very small step to go from that to being able to go out into space ourselves with these weapons. So I think there is a protection factor not only for Earth, but also for other civilizations in space. That's one. The second is that they know that we've reached this point in our evolution where we're going to have to learn to live together peacefully, or we're going to go the way of the dinosaurs. And I think we're going to eventually, it's going to be tumultuous, but we're going to achieve world and universal peace, and they're standing ready and preparing us to enter into an interplanetary society. That's what I think is really emerging. And that's a big part of why they're here. And the third reason is that if we do blow the system, let's say we go to DEFCON 5 and go into a full nuclear launch or a massive geophysical collapse, I'm quite convinced that they're going to intervene. And only then will you see an overt, massive intervention to stabilize the Earth and society so we continue on. And so that, I think, is another function.
I wonder why we are that valuable in any sense to them. In other words, if this little green and blue planet blows up, what effect does that have on them?
Well, I think if you understand, I'm actually at a conference right now in Santa Fe, New Mexico with Rupert Sheldrake, who talks about morphogenic fields, sort of the 100th monkey effect, and how living systems, once they become activated on the level of conscious intelligence, or if you will, the divine mind, that function or morphogenic field gets replicated at remote locations spontaneously through this morphogenic field resonance. And I think that what happens on Earth does affect other worlds and other dimensions and the Earth itself is one of the great gems in the diadem of creation, I believe. And I think humanity, for all its problems, also has great potential for love and great potential for creativity and great potential for beauty. And so I don't think it's... I think that we're certainly not at the fulfillment of all that potential, but it's certainly seen and appreciated. And I think most humans see that. And that's the wellspring, I think, of hope that people see for the future, is that there is this good and wonderful aspect of humanity. There's also a very dark side, and sort of the middle kingdom.
Well, of the three things you laid down, that they would be our guardians, I can buy. That they might intervene should we take that last awful step, I can buy. But that we're on the cusp of world peace, I don't know, Doctor. Looking around the world right now, it doesn't look a lot.
Well, you remember it's always darkest before the dawn, and if you understand a quantum of phase changes, usually you take a container of helium and cool it down close to absolute zero, it becomes what's called superfluid, and it takes about 1% of those molecules to become coherent, and then zap, the whole thing becomes magical and beautiful. I think we're at that point. But right before that moment of coherence is maximum chaos, maximum disorder, maximum change. And I think we're living exactly at that point of transformation. And I have a very clear vision that as crazy as things may seem right now on the Earth with all the problems, we're going to make it through, and people should have hope and faith in the future, and that it's only going to happen, though, when enough of us get it, see the vision of a good future, and make it happen.
Dr. Greer, I was blessed with being able to interview Colonel Corso before he passed.
Oh, yes.
I wonder how you reacted to what he said, which was amazing.
Well, what part of it?
He said again and again that he was given the opportunity to bring out a number of these things, lasers and other things that eventually became back engineered, that he had kind of a drawer that he was given of things that were recovered at Roswell that were then sort of integrated, turned over to industry.
Sure.
You were aware of all that?
Oh, I'm very aware of it. I know people who actually worked on them at the Bell Labs and in other facilities, and it's absolutely true. I saw his papers that he never got published. He died before he could do so, that were, a couple of feet high, that had amazing material in them. I was able to look through these. And so, yes, absolutely. I think he was, to the best he could recall many years later, relating the truth, and I think he was the real McCoy. And there may have been a few factual mistakes that were made in the course of transcribing his notes, but I think that by and large, what he was saying was completely correct.
I, too, took it the same way, the real McCoy.
Absolutely. And it's interesting, DisclosureProject.org, we began to work last year, a couple years ago, with the Honorable Paul Hellyer, who had been Minister of Defense in Canada, and he had contacted a senior military figure in the United States and asked about this, specifically what you brought up. Mm-hmm. And they said, this man said, yes, all of that is true and more. And so we know that this is the case. And what hasn't come out, unfortunately, although we have wonderful fiber optics and lasers and integrated circuits, we do not have the actual energy generation systems being used, and that's really what's been withheld that's caused the tragic consequences we see today.
But Doctor, it's fair to say that never in Earth's history has it been more urgent that we begin to look hard at these things instead of chuckling at them.
Oh, absolutely. It's a matter of our survival as a species, frankly.
Another interesting headline I saw on AOL earlier tonight was that as of right now, the Muslims have outnumbered the Catholics, becoming the largest religion in the world. And I wonder how the various religions are prepared to deal with contact.
Well, it's interesting. I've actually had discussions with people at the Vatican, as you know, with Monsignor Balducci. Mm-hmm. Members of my team met with Ratzinger before he became Pope to discuss this matter. I didn't meet with him personally, and we've met with other, Christian leaders, Jewish, and from various traditions. I really don't see, as well as Buddhists and the Dalai Lama, most mainstream spiritual traditions don't have a problem with the idea that there's intelligent life out there in the cosmos, and I don't think the moderate Islamic societies would either. It was interesting, one of the comments that Monsignor Balducci made to me when we were there at the Vatican. He said, what a terrible waste of space it would be if God left it empty of intelligent life and pinned all of his hopes only on humanity here on Earth. And that's
what a waste of space. Monsignor lifted that right from contact.
Yeah, and what it would be. And he's right.
I'm sorry. We're utterly out of time. Nothing I can do about it. Dr. Greer, I want to thank you for being here this night. And it's been a wonderful program. We will do it again one day, my friend.
All right.
You have a good night. And remember, folks, it is the OrionProject.org. Good night, Doctor. That's it, folks. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to be here with you. So from the high desert and the great American Southwest, good night.
Will we make it till tomorrow? Will the sun shine on you?